the current DPP, please.
Okay. Yeah,
because I'm thinking about the 2020 consultative process. So the first question is, did you and others in the Office of the Public Protector try to raise your concerns around the punitive environment and the repressive environment, as well as your challenges around investigations with her? And then I want to understand the relationship between her and Advocate Mkhwebane.
Yes, on the issue of raising these issues, we had continuously raised those issues in the various fora that we had as management, be it your task register, leadership, dashboard meetings, and any other meetings that we had. So that was a common concern that we have raised. I have indicated the quality of the reports that I received since I joined the meeting, the office itself. So that for me was the greatest concern, and I would raise it to the PP. I wouldn't want really to comment on the issue of the relationship. I would say that the two executives or leaders of the office in the form of the PP and the DPP would actually act in unison in most in instances in terms of raising concerns regarding the cases that have not really met their time frame. So those issues, I would say, they were handled quite professionally away from our view. Not that we would not have quite robust discussions, because even the issue of the audits was raised in the presence of the DPP or the current acting PP, just to emphasize, and which really gave a spotlight on the audits. And there was even a time when we were requested to provide those audits and for them to make a decision whether those audits should actually be withdrawn, to what extent they should be withdrawn, because of the kind of environment that they were creating and the effect on the quality of output that we were also giving rise to this whole consultative process. But I wouldn't want to comment on the actual relationship between the two of them. I think there have been also a supportive function that has been provided by the DPP in making sure that we achieve the target, including on the backlog matters. Because she would actually be very harsh on us in the presence of the PP and in how we have dealt with the matters in the backlog.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Honourable Clapper. Chair. Yes, Advocate Mpofu.
Yes, I apologize, Chair. I didn't want to interrupt Honourable Gondwe. I have to, if you allow me, put up the document from the doctor, and then so that we can then be excused here.
No, you don't have to put it up now. It will be sent to the chairperson via the committee.
No, I want to put it up.
I'm in the middle of questions with members. They can't be put up now here.
Chairperson, please.
No. You can't interrupt the session, Advocate Mpofu, in that manner.
I'm not interrupting.
Up here now. I'm in the middle of questions with members, and I'm proceeding to the next member. If you have that document, it will be sent to the committee secretary. Please. Thank
Chair, please, I have to be excused, so I'm leading up to that. Please, Chairperson.
I have left that to your choice. How I get a document is not going to be placed up here. It's going to be sent to the committee secretary. Thank you.
No, Chairperson. It doesn't work like that. Chairperson, please, don't shout.
It's not going to happen, Advocate Mpofu. You can't do that. I'm in the middle of questions with members. You can't just put up a document. Honourable Clapper, the platform is yours.
Chair, please, this is not just about a document. Chairperson?
You have no permission given for you to do that. You can wait until the end if that's what you want to do.
I can't. That's the point. I can't. I have to go.
Send what you have to the committee secretary.
No, but it's not okay. Forget the document.
That in my ruling. I don't need a document to be placed there.
Okay, forget
the question with members. Thank you.
Forget the document. I'm raising a point of order. I just want to order.
What is your point of order?
Okay. My point of order is that, Chair, I don't know why you're shouting at me. I'm saying to you, we need to, when we leave, which we are just about to do now, because we don't
need the permission for me to leave. We don't need the
Chair, but now why are you interrupting me, Mr. Judge? Why?
But disturbing a member on the platform.
There's no member on the platform. I waited until
Chair, relax.
There's the next member on the platform.
Chairperson, give advocating for their chance. Relax.
Please conclude what you're doing.
No, Mkhwebane, no.
Conclude your point of order, Advocate Mpofu.
I can't. Relax.
Conclude your point of order, Advocate Mpofu.
Don't shout. Relax. Take a chill pill. Relax.
You don't have anything to say. I want to proceed with the members. You don't waste our time.
I'm on a point of order, Chair. You can't. Why?
Then raise your point of order.
I'm not going to raise it when you are bellowing over my.
Raise your point of order, Advocate Mpofu.
All right. Okay. Honorable Chair, I'm saying that much as we don't want to be part of this gross irregularity and inhuman treatment of the public protector when she is sick, but we have stayed here to place on the record the following, that we have received a note that she won't be able to participate, to be at work from today for the next couple of days. And we will send
that's not the point of order, Advocate Mpofu.
Yeah, that's not it is. But the point of order, okay, let me tell you what the point of order.
That's not the point of order.
Don't shout, relax. No, the point of order.
I want you to stop now. I want you to stop now.
Okay, then I'll make the point. Let me make a different point then. The separate point is that some of the questions that are being asked about the relationship between the DPP and the public protector now, which I would ordinarily have objected to, are exactly the kind of thing that illustrates that we cannot do this when she's not here, because I would have consulted her about that answer in the question. So, but you can do whatever you want to do. All I want you to, Chair, is formally to excuse us, because we cannot participate in this kind of thing. But at the same time, we don't want to disrespect you by, as I say, just disappearing. But we have a note from Drs. Roos and Christelle that says that.
Thank you, Advocate Mpofu.
Medical certificate.
Thank you. You've done with your point of order.
And if you don't want that medical certificate, we are going to release it in the public domain anyway. The public is watching you.
Thank you, Advocate Mpofu. Honorable
Chair, on the point of order, Chair. Chair, on the point of order. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Mautu.
Yeah, I think you are being insensitive and inhuman in the way you are treating the public protector. I had requested, even before the senior counsel now comes to tell us that there's now a medical certificate, I had asked that let's adjourn, let's consult each other as the committee members, and then let's seek a solution to this problem. Now, the senior counsel comes back and says that the DP is now put, there's a medical certificate to that order, to that effect. How insensitive can you be to a mother? Why are you doing this to the public protector? No, we can't continue in this meeting, Chair. You are wrong, and you must be told that you are wrong. What you are doing.
Thank you.
Janji, where is Ubuntu here?
Thank you, Honorable Mautu. I've ruled on that. Honorable Mautu, I've ruled on that.
Will not kill anyone.
Honorable Mautu, I'm calling you out of order. I've ruled on that. Setting with arms and IT, please remove Honorable Mautu from the platform. IT, please remove Honorable Mautu from the platform. Honorable Klape, please proceed.
You should be recused from this thing, Judge. Mr.
Honorable Mautu, Klape, please proceed.
Honorable Janji.
I've recognized you, Honorable Tlhape.
Okay, Honorable Janji.
Honorable Nkosi, you next.
Honorable Janji.
Thank you,
Nkosi, you next. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. And good afternoon, all members.
Okay. Good afternoon and goodbye.
I wish to be off camera, Chair.
Go ahead, proceed.
Yeah, okay. No, thanks. My questions are as follows. Your evidence is that the meetings stopped, executive meetings stopped being strategic and were now operational. May I inquire from you what the impact of this was on the overall work of the Public Protector's Office, but in particular on the investigations themselves?
Thank you, Honorable Nkosi. Indeed, our meetings became more operational, and in the sense that for us as EMs, that is the time we would have used to dedicate focusing on managing investigations, focusing on the very same issues of project backlog, as opposed to the executive taking over actually the operational work that needed to be done by us. And indeed, to be held accountable where we have not done well as executive, because we are there to assist the executive authority. Because now we have dedicated that time in those meetings. And that is why I have indicated that then the time when we're actually supposed to be doing the actual work is left to the afternoon or even after hours and late into the night, so that we can then still focus on the various investigations, not just on the backlog, because there's a lot that is done on each investigation that need approval at the various levels, from the provinces right up to the requiring the signature of the public protector. Therefore, the more time that we spend on those meetings, because now they've become more operational and there's a point of emphasis, would cover even matters that are not necessarily in the backlog, in that they're still within their time frame. But we are now managing the day-to-day of an investigation, where even at some point, all investigators and their provincial representatives must then form part of those meetings to explain on matters that are still active but not necessarily on the backlog. That it then affected the very same objective of not creating a new backlog. So whereas one would have wanted to see the executive authority focusing more on the strategic objective, obviously with that oversight responsibility, that which even your dashboard and your leadership meetings were intended for, where we then account on what has been done and also be given an opportunity to then, where there are gaps, or we then focus on those gaps. I may mention, Honorable, because that when I came and having identified those issues, I had then requested that these are the gaps. Can I actually then engage with the provinces that I was responsible for? But there was no time for that. I didn't even have the time to visit the provinces, except for Gauteng that was closer to us. So that had an impact on how we then delivered on our side. Not that work stopped, but it had an impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you say that the rush, the need to hold media briefings demonstrated the rush to deliver reports, irrespective of what the quality of those reports were, at least, or to release reports untimely before you actually were ready and could be able to defend this both publicly and in court?
Yes, I will answer it in this way in addition to the response I gave to Honorable Gondwe, that indeed there are matters where one would have wanted to spend a little bit more time appreciating that that matter is already at the report stage, that we spend more time making sure that the report is properly quality assured. That is why there is the report I have given as an example of where we had to really stay throughout the night to present the report, that even though the Department of Health in that Pakasa matter had actually accepted the remedial action, but that as investigations, we don't even take that lightly in the compilation of the report itself. And we do not even want to rush, even in instances where we will be indicating that we have engaged with the state organ and they have agreed to our proposed remedial action, that we don't rush that, and that it must still go through the quality assurance processes, even in those instances, to check that we have covered all the legal legislation that is applicable, grammar, even the spelling, all those factors. That is what goes into the report. We even where the state organ has actually accepted our proposed remedial action, and where we know that there won't actually be then a possibility of the matter being taken on review because of that buy-in already from a state organ. But if it doesn't go through the quality assurance processes, then we already have a challenge, because anything else that may happen thereafter, or if the state organ picks up on anything and takes it on review, then we would not be able to justify it because we have worked fast. It is on those bases that I have raised those concerns to the committee. Thank you.
Okay. Given that there were challenges of capacity and with investigators leaving, what was the impact of a lot of experience being lost on the work of investigators? 1. 2, did you have a risk mitigation strategy for replacement of that capacity, or for ensuring that in future you would be able to deliver with what you have?
Firstly, Honorable Boss, one cannot stop people from leaving. They leave for various reasons. But the impact is immediately felt, because that work is then distributed amongst those who are remaining behind. And indeed, the skill level, especially when it comes to your complex matters, that is where it's then felt quite a lot when those people live with their skill and knowledge. There has been at least an attempt to fill those positions much faster than what used to happen in the past. But when you have an existing complex investigation, you also cannot just give it to a new person who has joined the office. So you will then have to give it to existing investigators who have also got their own matters to work on. So how we are trying to mitigate that is then to still identify people who will be able to take over those matters quite quickly and be able to understand the issues as well. In some instances, we do pair people with other investigators where it's possible to then allocate matters either to investigators who do not have any backlog, because there are investigators who do not have any backlog matters. But again, when you do that, you must also consider whether they have the skill and knowledge to deal with that complex matter and understand the issue and take it up with speed. So those are some of the mitigating interventions that we have put in place. We have not done it obviously 100% successfully, in that, as I indicated, that the skill and knowledge lies with those people who have been with the office for much longer, who know how to deal with complex matters, but are vested with other matters. It's an area that we are working on that still needs some or could use some improvement. Thank you, Honorable Boss.
In terms of paragraph 8 of paragraph 78 of your affidavit, you indicate that in response to your Audi letter, you made certain proposals to be implemented. Were they done or were they ignored?
The proposal that I had made in terms of training, there is some level of training that has been done in collaboration with the SIU. However, even with that training, in some instances, it was actually interrupted because we had to interrupt people while they were still in the training to respond to some of the reports that needed to be attended to. Some of the people ended up being recalled from the training itself. I couldn't attend the training myself because as training is going on away from the office, you still have to answer on various matters and reports or various investigations, wherever they may be, to the executive authority. So I couldn't even attend that training. However, from the training side and HR side, there have been interventions in terms of training itself. In terms of reviewing the service standards, those have not reviewed in the sense of changing them or relaxing them. In terms of relaxing the time frame, that has not actually been done. As indicated before, that the emphasis has really been on finalizing those matters within the deadlines that have been provided. So that one has not actually been changed. It's an ongoing, robust discussion at some instance, or we just then accept and move on. So not all of them have been implemented or viewed any differently, so that they can have a positive impact on our work and the quality of our reports. Thank you.
My last question.
Honorable Ghost. Yes.
My last question, Chairperson. On paragraph 105 of your affidavit, you indicate that executive managers were not consulted in relation to litigation matters. As you look for it, one, was it usual not to consult executive members? And what was the impact of this on the outcomes of cases that we had? And that's my last question, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mpofu. It's the way of how we do things that need to be changed. And I did indicate that it's something that I did discuss with my colleague at Legal Services even back in 2019, that